mames, eso está bien cabrón.
No manches, pa. No. Mira.
When it comes to exploring trails at night or in the day, there is always something you gotta remember. It's just your flashlight, your camera, and yourself. And maybe a couple of buddies if you're smart enough. Because who knows? There might be a terrifying anomaly out there that may just turn your casual hiking or camping trip into a new supernatural discovery. Exploring woodland trails in the dead of night is not for the faint of heart, especially when you come across anomalies that your brain simply cannot make sense of. We know what a dog looks like, and we know what a pig looks like, but what happens when the two of them are combined together? The person who uploaded this seemed to have the same questions, keeping a close following on the strange animal that you see in the video. What's striking about this weird creature is that it almost looks as if two of its body parts do not belong together. Its head is much bigger than the rest of its smaller body, and the coloration of its fur does not match at all. There's a clear stripe that goes down its head, but stops immediately at its neck. And that's extremely unusual. This spliced creature seems to also carry its prey with ease, not tiring in the slightest despite its size comparison. If you come across its path, would you also be brave enough to follow it? At least with animal-like anomalies, our brains can easily categorize the creature as some sort of species that maybe hadn't been discovered yet until that very day. But what if it was a supernatural monster that looked eerily similar to a human? Taking a nighttime ride on their bikes, a group of guys come across this eerie person-like form, except they are completely bare from head to toe, without even a speck of hair on their head. This is not at all like a normal thing to come across in an open area. I'm getting extremely Uncanny Valley vibes the longer I look at this thing. The way it carries its arms and how it walks, and not to mention the slow turnaround it does when it's approached by the bikers. Extremely bold of them, might I add. It almost unironically reminds me of a Ken doll, completely stripped of everything that remotely resembles a normal human being. Something is just not right about this video. And like the two bikers in the beginning of the video, you will not catch me sticking around to find out what that thing is. There is something magical and almost fairy-like about wanting to walk around in the woods in a delicate nightgown and maybe some braids in my hair and flowers. But in the daytime, not in an absolute pitch black forest where I can't even see 5 feet in front of me. Environment and atmosphere is everything when it comes to photography, and this trail cam photo definitely nailed the taking of Deborah Logan look. As you can see, this still image shows what may appear to be an older woman walking through the woods at night. I say older because of the vintage nightgown, which I totally don't own myself. The owner of this trail cam is unknown, and I think that makes it all the more scary. Where did it come from? Who is this strange woman? And will we ever find out why she's out in the woods by herself? All I know is I hope she's all right. Having the safety of a car when traveling alone at night definitely brings me more comfort and ease knowing that there is at least some sort of barrier between me and whatever may be out there lurking within the darkness. An account named Creepy Outdoors on TikTok uploaded this video online, showing what appears to be a solo hiker trying to enjoy a peaceful night alone out in a forest trail. Now, I'm not the one to judge, but you should always make sure to have someone with you when you're being this brave. Throughout his journey, the man felt off and decided to end his journey early. However, finally making it back into that safe barrier of his car, he started to hear a strange knocking coming from the back window. This happens multiple times, and the second time sounding more urgent and slightly aggressive than the first. Finally being taken out of freeze mode, the hiker goes to investigate, only to find something he truly wishes he didn't see. A handprint is outlined on the back window, only it wasn't a human, as he lightly outlines with his finger of its rough shape. Thankfully, the TikToker is safe and nothing else came out of this encounter. But still, what could have possibly been knocking that much to get his attention? Especially if it wasn't a human that was doing it. I truly do believe there are hidden secrets that our Earth holds from us, and whether it be from the government or something completely out of this world, I aim to keep an open mind about them. As my jealousy exceeds me, these two hikers were given the opportunity to catch such a sighting. Or so they claim. They appeared to be in a canyon of sorts, and seemingly had stopped in the middle of their journey because they allegedly saw a door open on the side of a hillside wall. This is actually disturbing because as they zoom in on the hill, you can actually see a door-shaped cutout within the rock. I feel if I do look at it long enough, my brain will start to make me think, or make me see it opening and closing as well. My guess is there's gotta be something sort of secret base in there if what they're telling us is true. Now I want to go out there and find out for myself. But like always, only in the daytime, and maybe with 5 to 10 friends supporting me. Staying within the woods for a short period of time for a little hike is all fine and dandy. What if you choose to stay there for multiple nights? By yourself? This camper is much braver than me, and thankfully recorded his journey of a strange anomaly that happened to him on his solo trip. It was all fine in the beginning, until things began to happen as his journey progressed into the nighttime. Hearing some noises outside, he proceeds out of his camper with caution, only to notice the flickering of a light way off in the distance. Getting closer to it, he notices that it's a flashlight that wasn't left by him. Clearly, he wasn't alone in these woods. And I quote from him, "A flashlight just doesn't fall out of the sky." Taking a break and trying to compose himself, he steps away from the flashlight after taking it with him, only to come back and notice that it was turned on and moved from the original spot he placed it down in. You've got to be kidding me. I'd pack up and leave right after that. But clearly this guy was no quitter and proceeded to stay the night, even sleeping it off, before making it to the morning and leaving as soon as the sun came up. He was incredibly lucky nothing had happened to him, and I think it's better we never find out who or what was playing this sick joke on him, because for all we know, it could have been someone with not so great intentions. Being able to catch a real ghost on camera has and always will be one of the greatest achievements of our lifetimes. Whenever I go hiking out in the woods, I always like to record my findings, but I don't know how I feel when it comes to much older buildings. The man recording this video seemingly comes out of the brush after hiking for a bit and stumbles upon a church. I don't blame him for wanting to record, as old-style churches are incredibly beautiful and intricate in its design. However, as it pans down to get a view of the whole building, we see that there is a woman there watching him film, probably wanting to introduce himself and maybe explain why he's taking a video. It only gets all the more scarier as the woman disappears completely as he turns the corner. And I do mean completely. The only logical explanation, if you would call it that, is that she had gone through the wall itself. It was never explained who this girl was, and the hiker never sees her again after that. But if it was truly a ghost, I personally wouldn't stay any second longer in that location. Were you the type of child that liked to run on all fours? Or would you run up the stairs like a dog or a cat? I definitely was, because it was fun, silly, and harmless. Would you say the same if it came to seeing it outside in the darkness? Seeing this video definitely freezes me in place, as we clearly see what may appear to be a child or a woman standing on all fours, aggressively shaking their head in an unnatural way. If I were to come across this and saw that thing down the trail, you better believe I'm turning in the opposite direction. I am not playing here. Not to mention the way it's standing, how all its limbs are completely straightened out, not like how humans will have a natural bend in their knees or arms when placing themselves in this position. If this came running towards you at full speed, what do? I think my heart would stop, and I'd give up and let the creature take me. Maybe it'll raise me as one of their own. Who knows? Now these next group of guys are smart. You always want to stick together as a group when exploring forest trails in the dark. And even better that they have bikes. All the more easier to get away from whatever could be chasing you within the dark, confusing landscape of the woods. This one you really need to slow down and watch carefully, because you might just miss it. It all happens so fast, mainly because of the speed that these guys are tearing up. But right at the beginning, you can see our main guy with the GoPro swerve out of the way from what appears to be a figure dressed in all black, with the only clear area of skin that's shown is its hand. The creature seemed to also completely unbothered, especially when 2 bikes had already passed. This strikes me as very odd. Not even a single reaction coming from the anomaly. Some speculate that it was some sort of witch, which isn't a bad guess, and considering the tattered, long black clothing that they were wearing, which stereotypical cartoon witches wear. I've only heard stories of unknown creatures running across the front of a car of a dark trail, and I'm glad it's only that I've experienced. With the lack of streetlights and only being dependent on the soft glow of your headlights, who knows what you'll find out there within the comfort of a dark forest. Right as the car turns the corner, we see far off into the distance of what appears to be an incredibly large beast bolt across the street, as if they're the ones being surprised by the sudden appearance. Are you kidding me? I'm terrified of you, pal. You're the size of 6 of me stacked up. And if you look closely, were those 2 tails I saw? Or antennas? Who's ready to go on a hike or camping trip with me after that? Don't worry, I'll make sure we're out before the sun goes down. I'm your host Alice, and thank you for sticking around towards the end with me on this terrifying anomaly journey.